Hello and welcome to Mulch, with me your host Rebecca Anning Brown. This is a weekly podcast for flower farmers who want to build a confident flower farming practice that reflects the lifestyle that you want now and in the future. Each week I'll share conversation and tips to nurture and grow you and your flower farm. I'll open conversations that flower farmers find difficult to talk about, provide approaches that will help you to make decisions, chuckle at the idiosyncrasies of our work, and always be real and honest about my own work as a flower farmer. My goal is to help you to grow a curious, confident and grounded flower farming practice that flourishes as a business that you love and are proud to shout about. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and if you like what you hear, please do leave a review and share the podcast with your flower farming friends. It really does help to grow a confident and successful flower farming community. Hello everyone and welcome back to Mulch. How are you? I'm going to ask that question again. How are you? I like to ask the question twice because the first response that we often give is, I'm fine, how are you? But when we ask the question the second time, sometimes we offer it a little bit more reflection, and the answer might change and be more detailed, more honest, more real. So if you were to ask me that question this morning, I would say, I'm fine, how are you? But if you ask me again, my second response is, I'm actually still really achy. My thighs are really achy from Friday morning's yoga. Do not know why, but they really are. And I'm tired. I'm really tired this morning. I think all of us need to remember that we're not just flower farmers. You know, I'm also a mum, a wife, a daughter, a human being in a world that is challenging, and I'm tired. That being said, as ever, I'm excited to get on and record this episode of Mulch. Before I do, I wanted to talk about something that I put in our Instagram stories on Saturday. So those of you who follow us on Instagram, we're at Silver Grey Foliage, will have noticed that on Saturday in our stories, we mentioned that a flower farmer's course is brewing here at Silver Grey Foliage. It's exciting. I want it to be right. And I really have the longest list of things that I feel ought to be covered. However, before Anthony and I set things into concrete, we really want to know what you want and or need from a course. So, do you want it to be long or short? Do you want to learn at your own pace or in a structured way? Do you want to learn in a group or on your own? Do you want to work with others on projects so that you all learn and contribute? Or what are the things that you struggle to find quality education on? Anything that you want to say on the matter of flower farming courses, drop me an email. My email address is rebecca@silvergreyfoliage.com, or message me on Instagram. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you. So today I am talking about 9 things that I have learned in 5 years of flower farming. Now, I completely understand that the classical way to do a podcast like this would be to say 5 things in 5 years. However, I started with 5 things and then got to 50 and narrowed it down to 9 things that I absolutely had to share with you today. There are so many lessons that I've learned, that we've learned about ourselves and about our business. These things are actually pretty transferable across lots of businesses. However, as ever, I am a flower farmer in the context of this podcast, and so that's what I'm going to relate things back to. Let's crack on. So, number 1. So this first learning tip is about what you grow and how you grow. And it is quite simply that you do not have to grow everything, and you do not need everything ready on the same day at the same time to start selling. So when we started growing, I was always concerned that I didn't have enough variety. Now, I'm not going to say that that concern has completely melted away, because in my nature, I will always want to offer my customers the most, the best, the greatest variety. I also understand now that there are limits to what we can grow and what we can add to our availability each year. In those early days, I would hold off sharing what we did have until there was more to offer. However, what I found was that by the time I had more flowers to add to my offering, the first crop was no longer fit for purpose, because you have to keep cutting the flowers and to cut them deep for them to keep coming. When you leave them and you're waiting, the flowers are just going off and going bad. They get wasted, they turn to seed, and then it's incredibly hard to encourage your crops to keep producing flowers for you. So offer what you have when you have it, keep cutting, and when you have more, share that too. And your customers will learn that the minute there's something new, they can have that added excitement too. Tip number 2, or my learning point number 2, is that quality is more important than quantity. Now, this is true both for your flowers and also for the customers that you work with. And it took me a long time to understand that to grow our business, I didn't need to sell to every florist and I didn't need to sell every flower. Don't get me wrong, more florists equals more income, which equals leaking roof fixed quicker and oven finally replaced and working. However, I found that I was better off with a few solid customers that I could build a relationship with, build a regular kind of sales basis with, than to have millions of people on a list that were buying maybe once in a blue moon. And as for the flowers, I would rather be able to cut 20 quality stems to pop into a bouquet than to have 20 floppy stems or 200 floppy stems that I was ashamed to send out. Because it's the quality that builds a relationship with your customers, whether it's a retail customer or a florist, a wholesale customer. And it's the quality that allows you to charge a reasonable price for your flowers. And it's the quality that you keep producing and that you learn to produce in more and more bulk that allows you to grow it in time. So yes, quantity is important, especially for bigger customers or to increase the number of bouquets that you are selling. But the primary interest needs to be quality first. Number 3. Now, I did a post last week on Instagram saying that I am an introvert. And this is absolutely factually correct. You can find that Instagram post on Instagram. Ho ho. I might put a link to it in the show notes. Just because I'm an introvert doesn't mean that I don't need people around me. In fact, in many ways, I need people around me more. It's how I choose to relate to those people that potentially changes, and or that I need to work hard to engage in different ways. As a flower farmer, I've said it before, I'll say it again, there's nothing better than talking to someone who understands exactly what you do. Their eyes don't glaze over, they're enthusiastic, they don't want to end the conversation and your mutual enjoyment. of the time together is contagious. Flower Farm friends are essential. However, they are only part of the community that I want around me. Because it is hard to think critically when you have a mutual interest. And it's easy to skip over the amazing achievements when you share the same challenges. I absolutely love the community of friends that has built slowly around silver grey foliage. Some are in the business of flowers, but some are just in business, and others are impartial yet astute observers. It's so important to grow that community around you cautiously, but also to be mindful that just because people don't think or talk like you do doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be friends and that they can't help you to grow. And the final part about community is that diversity of community means that you can contribute as much as you receive, because what you have to offer becomes more obvious when your end product is different. It's those transferable elements of knowledge and skill that always lead the way. My fourth learning point is that anyone who says that there's only one way to do anything hasn't tried the other ways properly. So the saying goes that there's more than one way to skin a cat. And so there is definitely more than one way to sprout your ranunculus and to germinate molicella. Neat. Maybe the way for one flower farmer and manicured may suit the mindset of another, but higgledy-piggledy may help you to make meaningful and productive associations so that you grow more effectively. It's way more important that you have a system that works for you and is reproducible by you than it is that your system is the same as everyone else's because for them it's tried and tested. So as a small segue, this is also true for how your flower farm begins, because it doesn't look the same for everyone, and certainly our setup is completely different to the setups of lots of the flower farmers that I admire and love and am inspired by. So it's really important that you work out what works for you and that you listen to other people's advice and that you take it on board, but understand that their way may not end up being your way, and that's okay. Number 5. It is possible to earn a living doing something that you love. This one really does speak for itself. And no, it's not silly, and it's not naive, and you're not destined for failure. You just need to start, make a plan, and be willing to change the plan as time passes. So long as the changes don't impact on your values, the plan will lead you somewhere. And the somewhere isn't always where you expect it to be. But the key thing is that somewhere will bring you an income, because your passion will keep you going, will drive your business, will serve its purpose, and will create an income. For me, as a woman, as a mother, as a daughter with a professional background, capital letter jobs that I've referred to in the past, if I had £1 for every person who told me that I wouldn't earn any money at all selling flowers, I'd probably be more rich than I am now and that roof would be fixed. But all of those people were wrong. Yes, it's taken some learning. Yes, the plan has had to change. Yes, we've needed to adapt, to learn, to grow. But I love what we do, and it brings an income into our household. It is possible to earn a living doing something that you love. Okay, number 6. sometimes the less you do, the more you get done. Oh, now the fancy term for this is niching. And when we started our business, I promise you, it's so far from where I wanted to be. I wanted to dye ribbons, to make wax candles. I wanted to make inks from our petals. I wanted to think about creating perfumes from our roses. I wanted to sell to retail customers at markets, online, through Etsy. I wanted to dry our flowers, create products with our flowers, make beautiful things to share with people with our beautiful flowers. And I wanted to grow for florists. I mean, looking back, that's nuts. That's a lot of things. And I do have a lot of books that cover a wide range of these topics. And I've told you before that my answer in previous worlds to most things, if I didn't know what to do, was to buy a book. Yeah, I've bought the books. I've read them. I've skimmed lots of them and read parts of some of them in detail. I'm not going to say I've read every word of every book. But the key thing is that we evidently don't do all of those things anymore. In fact, we do very little now. We sell wholesale flowers to florists. We do DIY weddings. We sell arrangers flowers and the occasional bouquet. And if you think about all of those, they're very similar in how they look, how we grow them, and how we present them. But we do more now than we did then, when our attention was going in every single direction. So put another way, the more you simplify your offer, the easier it is to excel. It's no different to being at school. We take 10 GCSEs, but we only take 3 A levels, and if you're that way inclined, 1 degree, because you cannot specialise in 10 degree subjects in one go. I mean, I'm sure the Mensa top scoring people probably could, but why would you? Your business is no different. Number 7. Brace yourselves. It is absolutely correct that flowers are a luxury product. They are non-essential. But people buy takeaway coffee, perfume, and alcohol. These are luxuries. And I can't see Starbucks, Costa Coffee, Chanel reducing their prices. I really, really want you to just maybe listen to that back. People buy luxuries every day. They buy coffee from coffee shops. Maybe not the big branded ones, but takeaway coffees from coffee shops. Perfume, alcohol, fancy brands of pasta instead of bog standard supermarket own. Those are all luxuries. So when you're producing your luxury product, it's important to ensure that the value that you're offering in that luxury is represented by the amount that you charge. Because yes, it is a luxury, but Greggs, Nero, KFC, your local vape stores, they're not going out of business. In fact, they all appear to be doing incredibly well, and none of them are taking their prices down. So you should never feel guilty for understanding the value of what you offer. And you shouldn't feel guilty for offering a product that is not necessary. Because I'm 100% confident that your luxury product will bring more joy than any of those that I've named above, and that the positive memories that come from the flowers that you grow will last days, weeks, lifetimes, depending on what they're being used for. Be proud of what you do. It's a luxury, and that's nothing to be ashamed of. number 8. Ocho. I don't speak Spanish. I'm pretty good at French and German, but I don't speak Spanish. Anyway, I'm not really sure why I'm talking about that. Number 8 is that it's not important that your family and friends understand what you do. I'm going to turn that around. All of us want support from the people that we love and care about, and the people who love and care about us right back. And this is really difficult because it's helpful to have their support. It really is helpful to know that behind you there's that cushion of love and people just holding their hands out for you to lean into. And it really hurts when those same people don't take the energy and the time and the money that you're investing into your business seriously. However, they're not your customers. They're not your regular, long-term customers that you want and need to engage with. So it only matters that your customers understand your product, because they are the people who are actually going to buy from you again and again and again. So get really confident in your knowledge of what your customers want so that you can serve their need and show them that you understand them and ask for their feedback. Because the feedback of your customers can add value and knowledge to what you do. But the feedback from your family and your friends may be well-meaning, but it's not necessarily going to help you to get on and grow. And finally, number 9, you must pay yourself. It doesn't matter to me how big that paycheck is each week. The key thing is that right from the moment that you start to sell your product, your business pays you something. Now, that might be a packet of wine gums or a weekly yoga class. It might be a Freddo bar or a takeaway pizza. Or it might be a £5 towards your holiday spending budget every week. It doesn't matter to me how much that is. The key thing is that you take something back from your business right from the start. And that as your business grows, you take a bit more for yourself time and time and time again. Because until you take something back from your business, it's no more than an expensive hobby. And it's harder to expect your business to become profitable if all you do is spend what comes in on the business itself. And it becomes harder to do the work when the personal return is less visible. And yes, there's a personal return from being outdoors. And yes, there's a personal return from growing a beautiful product. And yes, there's a personal return from seeing the look on your customers' faces. But pennies in your bank account, a luxury takeaway coffee in your hand, a bar of chocolate that your business has bought you every week will drive you forward much, much quicker. Thank you. That's it from me today. No summary. You're welcome to go back and listen to all of those again and again and again. And I really want you to think about the things that you have learned and take on board some of our learning to help to strengthen the work that you do. If you need support guidance, accountability, help making a plan, or anything else to do with your flower farm, I opened up mentoring sessions last week. You can book them on the website and I'll pop the link in the show notes. The aim of every session will be to help you to get unstuck, to create a way to move forward and to help you to get on and grow. For everyone, that topic will be different and that area of support and that area of need will be different. I'm looking forward to doing the first of these sessions on Thursday, and I will maybe share my feelings on how it went next week. Most importantly, I'll be back next Monday with another episode relating to flower farming in practice. And until then, have a wonderful week. Rebecca.
Thank you for listening to Mulch. I hope that you found it useful. To find the show notes, head back to our website where you'll find links to all the things that I've been talking about in today's episode. If you're on Instagram, you can find us at Silver Grey Foliage. I would appreciate it so much if you were able to share this episode in your Instagram stories. And if you are able to leave a review, it really will help more people to get on and grow. I'll be back with you next Monday to talk about more flower farming in practice. Rebecca.